So we can protect our bodies with vitamin A, with vitamin B, with phenylalanine, with lysine, with glutathione, with vitamin C and vitamin B, the B complex. The way to boost up the strength of vitamin C to help purge your body of this mucus content and the poisons is to, for example, you can have raw lemon juice or raw orange juice. You take that and mix in with it liquid vitamin C or vitamin C crystals, or take vitamin C with it, or buffered vitamin C. That's vitamin C without the acid in it, and it makes the vitamin C that you do take 3 to 4 times the strength. In other words, if you take 500 milligrams of vitamin C, if you take it with raw lemon juice, it becomes up to 3,000 milligrams of vitamin C because it boosts the action. They call that synergistic, working in a symphony, synthesize. In any case, we can do the vitamin C, the vitamin D, which melanated skin converts in the first place, which stabilizes the calcium. We can do vitamin D. We can do vitamin E, which is simply known as a fertility supplement in European medicine. They mostly take it for its fertility ability, the ability to help them reproduce. But vitamin E is known as a vitamin that helps hold oxygen in your body. The secret to health is to hold the oxygen. Liquid chlorophyll does that. It helps hold the oxygen. When a cell loses about 60% of its oxygen content, it becomes cancerous, no matter where it is in the body. So we have these cancerous cells which are basically oxygen deficient. So to raise the oxygen content of the cell, you take vitamin E. And with the oxygen content of the cell raised, your defense are much higher. And liquid chlorophyll can do that too because it has a conversion reaction. Conversions are very important in the defense of the body and in health in general. Conversions are what the body does naturally. Anything that's not converted in the body is usually a drug or a poison. Alcohol is not converted, it goes directly in the system. When you look at an image, the image is upside down, and the mind converts it right side up. It's a conversion reaction, you see. When you hear in waves, but the body converts it through the eardrums into a chemical, and that chemical is what you hear. You don't hear waves, you hear chemicals. So everything is converted in the body, and anything that is not converted is technically a poison, and that's where this poisonous thing comes into play. That's why you have drugs. Drugs are poisons. They work on a poison vehicle because they are not converted in the system. Conversions are very important. Everything has to be converted. When you eat an orange, it tastes acidic to the tongue, but it's converted into an alkaline in your system. So oranges are not acidic, they're alkaline because they're converted. Nothing stays the same. If something stays the same, it is causing a pollution in your system. Alcohol goes right in your body. Opium goes right in your body. It's not converted. Crack goes right into your body. It is not converted. And the law is everything has to be converted. And anything that breaks that law is classified as a drug or as a poison. So what we're trying to do is push these radicals or poisons out of the body with a holistic diet. Taking into effect that you have things like worms and parasites that float in the blood at all times. Now the blood in itself doesn't carry any toxins. The blood is simply red blood cells. But mixed into these red blood cells is this liquid manure, which you call mucus. And the mucus is a nice fertile bed for worms. They love this manure, and they feed off of it. So they are floating around in your body, taking about a pint of blood from you a day. The population of China is feeding about 400 million people in proportion to the worm population. It takes that many people being fed by the worms, by the nutrients they absorb. So the majority of the people on a so-called polluted diet, which we mentioned before, the herbicides and pesticides, are having a continuous stream of floating manure and a worm population they're feeding. Therefore, they have to consume more food. So you see, the whole business of food is a business. The more you eat, the more you have to eat, because you're not only feeding the worms, you're also feeding the pollutants that stay in your system, causing headaches, nervous irritation, which causes you to take aspirin, bufferin, Excedrin, Tylenol, all that. So the whole diet is based on keeping the pollution in your system. But once the pollution is out of your system, then you're free. Then you cannot be controlled anymore. That is how addiction works. Addiction works by putting your body in an ill state. putting you in a nutritionally deprived state is how addiction works. As long as you're nutritionally deprived, you're addicted. There's no other way for it to work. Alcohol, for example, is a poison, so it drains your body of zinc. So we know you need zinc to defend your system. You would need 500 milligrams of zinc. But when you're taking liquid zinc, which is when it's in its most highly metabolized state, you probably would need about a shot glass of zinc. And that zinc will stabilize your appetite. It would also get rid of the worms, you see. So when you're in control of your body holistically, you're not addicted. But to keep you addicted is to keep you in control. And to keep you in control is to keep you poisoned. So it's a vicious kind of cycle, you see. As I mentioned before, when you're taking alcohol, you're stripping your body of zinc, potassium, phosphorus, iron, vitamin C, vitamin D. So you're in a malnutrition state. And in a malnutrition state, your body hungers for these nutrients, and it's always being driven. And the first thing that reacts to any sort of malnutrition state is the mind. That's the first thing that reacts. A person can look healthy and look in optimum shape, but you can tell by the way they talk and the way they react that they're tired, because the first thing that reacts to malnutrition is the mind. The whole thing about poison and the control of someone who's about the business of control is to manipulate. So to have you poisoned is to have you under control. This is very important, to look at this system of what you call air pollution, water pollution, food pollution, in the hands of who is controlling it and for whose benefit it is for. It is for someone's benefit because someone is making money making the poisons, and someone's making money selling you something to defend your body against the poison. So you're in like a seesaw economic trap. You stop taking the poison, you have to take something to get it out your system, and when you don't take something to get it out your system, you start taking the poison. There's no medium, no middle point between it. And that's what it's relying on. Addiction doesn't work on a middle point. A middle point is called balance. And it doesn't work on balance. It works on an imbalance. Poisons work on imbalance. They create an imbalance in your system, which makes you addicted, which makes you controllable, which makes you malnourished. So we have to defend our bodies. Very important. When you're trying to get some of this pollution out of your system and clear your lungs, it's very important to go out in the country at least once a week to get a hold of some unpolluted air, or close to unpolluted air as you possibly can. Just to spend the time out in the woods, breathing the air, will help rejuvenate your system. It's very important that you walk barefoot on grass or sand. It helps ground your system and pulls out the radiation that accumulates in your foot when you step on a gas pedal, which throws the radioactivity in your body off. Remembering that the melanin is highly electromagnetic chemical, and by stepping on the gas pedal, you accumulate a whole lot of negative radiation in your system, which throws your melanin electrical balance off. So to re-establish that balance, it's important that you walk barefooted on sand or on grass. And it's important that you wear cotton clothes, underwear, to allow your skin to breathe. These so-called jockey straps, they don't allow the testicles to go up and down, and they keep the sperm at the same temperature, instead of letting the sperm regulate its temperature and regulate its maturity and keep it in a cyclical balance. So it's important that we wear cotton. It's important that we breathe some good air. It's important that we take sunshine, looking at the sun, not at noontime, but before noon and in the evening, allowing it to come into your eyes, stimulate your pineal gland, which stimulates your pituitary gland down to your hypothalamus. The sunshine is very important in an African person's diet. It helps balance the system and give you the proper stimulation. So we have to have the sunshine. These are just basic things to do to defend your body against the pollution that we live in. I'm not getting into the social pollution or the spiritual pollution or those sort of things. I'm just trying to focus on some basic things that are necessities in our survival. So we are going to use some nutritional self-defense against these pollutions. We're going to know that we have to get them out of our system, flushing them out periodically, perhaps with garlic, with mullein to open up your lungs, with another herb called alfalfa to help reestablish the vitamin K, the vitamin A, the vitamin B, the vitamin C, and some sarsaparilla and some sassafras, which is a good blood cleanser, to help flush these impurities out of the system. Because we're constantly under attack of pollutions in our pores, from the aluminum in the deodorant, which suppresses the toxins and keeps them in your body. By the way, all the allopathic medicine, which you call MD medicine or modern medicine, is called suppressive medicine. It's called suppressive therapy. And these medicines, be the aspirins or the medicines they put into the deodorants and the sprays, suppress the toxins in your body. So by using the aluminum and other chemicals that are found in the deodorant, the body's trying to get rid of the waste, and the suppressive therapy in the deodorant keeps the waste in the skin. The same thing goes for the creams that are put on the skin, that are used in the women's makeup. They suppress the toxins in the skin, keeping the poisons in the skin that the body's trying to push out of the skin. You see, the same thing happens with the hair relaxers. A child that wears a hair relaxer, say within the first 6 months, they're going to need glasses, because the hair relaxers work by weakening the body. They break the keratin, they break the protein strength, and that's what causes the African's hair to become limp. And then you curl it to resemble the white people's hair. First you make it limp to resemble their hair, then you curl it to copy them who are copying your curly hair. So eventually it goes into the bloodstream, is absorbed, gets into the blood, and affects the eyes, the protein bonds in the eyes. So eventually any child that's using these hair relaxers, which are sold by African companies to help suppress us here in America, the child's going to eventually need glasses. It's just been that way with those kind of poisons that are taken into the system as cosmetics, aside from deodorants, aside from the relaxers in the hair, aside from the creams we put on, aside from the deodorant soap, which has aluminum in it, which suppresses the toxins all over your body and stops them from coming out, inhibits the action of the glands within the body. This gets into your system and inhibits the action of the brain. All these chemicals that get in the blood have to go to the brain. Anything you do to your skin, you are doing to your brain. It's absorbed in the skin, gets in the bloodstream, and goes into the blood and goes to the brain. They may be minuscule or minor or very minor reactions, but they're reactions nonetheless, because the brain has to react to pollution. It's in the body, it cannot escape. So we can polluting the brain, so we have to do certain things in self-defense even of the brain today. Lecithin is a supplement that comes from soybeans. It turns into soap in the body and helps wash out the impurities. So lecithin, super lecithin, which is called phosphatidylcholine, helps flush the toxins out of the body. Choline is what gives seaweeds and kelp that fishy smell. Inositol and choline should be used together because they are complementary pairs, and they help flush out the impurities in the nervous system because they feed the nerve principally. We also have just simply, when you do breathe, deep breathing, because it stimulates all down into your lower lungs. So we want to deep breathe. Breathe in very slow and breathe out very slow. This helps rejuvenate the lungs and fully oxygenate the blood so you can get more strength. And this makes you feel better. So we want not only to breathe the country air, we want to deeply breathe the country air. These are kind of self-defense things to do against the pollution that we find in the water, as well as in the food, as well as in the air. It's a self-defense that is necessary in the so-called modern environment, which is basically poisoned.